Shadows of Destiny, Unraveling a Complex Tale, Part 2. The night elapsed in quietude, passing into the next morning, which marked the opening of All You Can Eat. Serenity and Mrs. Lane arrived early to find Liberty already hard at work. Liberty, is the ribbon for the ribbon-cutting ceremony ready? Opening ceremonies held a special place in tradition for inaugurating new businesses. Acknowledging the touch of superstition, Serenity smiled, remembering the ribbon-cutting ceremony they had held when she and Jasmine first launched the bookstore. Everything's set. Liberty's early morning efforts left her in high spirits for this momentous occasion. With a light-hearted air, confetti flew as the ribbon-cutting concluded. Duncan's belated arrival didn't go unnoticed as he contributed a few floral arrangements. Observing the confetti-covered ground, he playfully admitted, "Can't believe I'm late." Setting the scene, Zachary joined Liberty in arranging the ribbon for the opening. He admitted his lack of experience in such matters, content to assist Liberty in keeping Sunny entertained. Although still asleep, Sunny's presence didn't go unnoticed. Duncan was enlisted to hold him. Did he sleep through the confetti popping? Exhausted from yesterday's excitement, he's sleeping deeply. Welcoming Duncan into the store, Liberty initially intended to take Sunny from him, but he countered, "Don't you have breakfast to cook for your first customer? Let me hold Sunny. It's rare I get the chance, especially when he's asleep." With a chuckle, Liberty replied, "Considering you're our first customer, your meal's on the house, Mr. Lewis. What would you like to have?" Duncan insisted, "No, I'll pay. It's your opening day, after all. You need to make money. Don't give discounts to anyone today, just charge as per your menu." Zachary chimed in, "Duncan's right. You can't let him get away with a discount. Charge him the regular price." Liberty expressed her gratitude, "Thank you both for your support." Inwardly, Zachary mused, "No need to thank us. Duncan might become a permanent fixture here." Duncan's arrival was followed by a steady stream of customers eager to sample the diner's offerings. Liberty was kept busy as word of the opening drew patrons. Having remodeled the diner over the past few months, people working in nearby buildings were already familiar with All You Can Eat's name and simple, down-to-earth appeal. As the morning rush subsided, Liberty finally found a moment to catch her breath. The exhaustion was eclipsed by her undeniable happiness. That is, until her ex-husband showed up with his mother, dampening her spirits. Hank arrived bearing a flower stand, observing that only Zachary, Serenity, and an older woman who often assisted Liberty were present in the store. He couldn't help but make a snide remark, "Where are all the customers?" Olivia looked at the flower stands outside, from Zachary and Serenity, Jasmine, Elisa's family, and Duncan. Her expression soured at the sight of Duncan's stands. He had brought several, whereas her son only had one. Olivia immediately found herself unfavorably comparing her son to Duncan. Noticing Hank's entrance, Olivia quickly followed suit, overhearing his comment and promptly swatting his arm. "Hank, if you have nothing good to say, keep quiet." She then offered a bag containing a bottle of champagne to Liberty with a warm smile. "Congratulations on your opening day, Liberty. May your business flourish." Taking the congratulatory card from the bag, Liberty thanked her but declined the champagne, handing the bag back. "I appreciate the gesture, but your well wishes are enough." Olivia had no choice but to accept the bag again. She turned her attention to Serenity and Zachary, smiling. "Serenity, it's been a while. You're looking more beautiful each day. Your demeanor has also improved. Truly, you're blessed. Serenity gave a polite laugh, not eager to engage with Olivia. Memories of her and Chelsea's past gossiping made her less than eager to converse. Eager to please Zachary, Olivia directed her attention towards him, using a more servile tone. Zachary remained stoic and silent, leaving Olivia flustered and speechless. Serenity's husband was the embodiment of quiet yet intimidating authority. Hank, realizing his misstep, handed over the flower stand he brought and explained, "I ordered this a few days ago to congratulate you on your store's opening." Liberty glanced at the numerous flower stands adorning the entrance and responded with a hint of dry humor, "Thank you, Mr. Brown. It seems there's no room left for your stand at the entrance." Hank's eyebrows knitted in jealousy as he asked, "Why are there so many flower stands? Who sent them?" Despite having discarded Liberty, he found himself envious of the grandeur surrounding her small breakfast diner. In his mind, she'd merely used the money she had taken from him to set up the place. "Just no space for my flowers? I could get a re." Hank began to say, only for Olivia to interrupt, snatching the flower stand from his hand. She shot him a fierce glare and turned to Liberty, wearing a smile, "We can fit it in if we squeeze it." She carried the stand outside and positioned it next to Duncan's. Had Zachary and Serenity not been present, Olivia might have been more aggressive, potentially even destroying Duncan's displays. To avoid a confrontation on the first day of business, Liberty chose to let the matter slide for now, not wanting a scene to mar the opening. Elise's voice preceded her entrance as always, announcing her presence. Her penchant for sleeping in made her morning appearance commendable. "Why are you two here?" she demanded, her brows furrowing as she caught sight of Hank and Olivia. Without waiting for a response, her warning was sharp and unwavering, "You're not welcome. Leave now, or I'll have someone escort you out." Hank, familiar with Elise's reputation for temper, quickly attempted to defuse the situation. "Miss Stone, we're here to support Liberty's opening. We're not looking for trouble." Aware of Elise's penchant for volatility, he sought to maintain a polite demeanor. Elisa, though capricious, knew better than to incite a brawl on the store's inaugural day. Her polite stance, despite her misgivings, was clear. "Don't cause trouble. Well, if you're done eating, pay the bill and go." Even as Elise's demeanor was strict, her behavior wasn't overly harsh. The specter of her notorious temper seemed to temper the response. "We're done." About to pay and leave, Hank replied hastily, silencing his mother and producing a $100 bill. He handed it to Liberty, his intention to tip generously evident. "Keep the change." Just as Liberty was about to respond, Elisa snatched the bill from Hank's hand. He swiftly shepherded his mother outside. It's a relief they left rather quickly. Otherwise, they'd be nursing sore limbs for days, Elisa added with a grin. She noted the shoes she was wearing, alluding to the impact her high heels could have inflicted. Handing over the cash to Liberty, Elisa's tone was lighthearted. "Don't feel obligated to be nice to them. If they dare come for breakfast, charge them more. Their presence is likely to sour your mood, so it's only fair." Serenity chimed in, "They didn't even eat anything." Elisa paused, then chuckled, "They didn't? Let's consider this $100 as Sunny's snack money." Elisa stuffed the money into Liberty's hand before casually ordering, "I'll have Eggs Benedict, please." Her choice was seemingly arbitrary, her main intention was to support Liberty's business. Since she had arrived later, she initially assumed the diner was struggling. "Of course, just give me a moment. Since you arrived now, I can prepare Eggs Benedict for you right away." During the morning rush, we were swamped with orders, both dine-in and takeout. It was quite hectic. Elisa blinked, realizing her assumption was off. After all, with the culinary prowess of the Hunt sisters, it was unlikely that their restaurant would struggle. Amidst the unfolding scene, Jessica burst in suddenly, her demeanor frantic. In response, bodyguards from the York family and Duncan's hired security personnel swiftly converged on the scene. Serenity's understanding of the Brown family ran deep. She had a sense that if the Browns and the Hunts showed up, their presence might mar her sister's store opening. Trouble was the last thing they needed on such an important day. Worried about the potential chaos, Serenity turned to her husband for assistance. She asked him to arrange for vigilant personnel nearby to promptly tackle any issues that arose. While she usually was self-sufficient and reluctant to depend on him, she took the initiative to ask for his help in this matter. To Zachary, this gesture signified that she saw him as family, and he was more than willing to assist. In truth, Zachary had already been considering such measures even before her request. Like Serenity, he was cautious about any possible disruptions from the Brown and Hunt families. Upon seeing the multitude of bodyguards from the Yorks and Duncan's security personnel, Jessica's frenzied state dissipated. Observing the scene inside, she spotted only Serenity, Zachary, and Elisa. Jessica's first attempt to greet Elisa had been ignored, and the memory of that condescending attitude still stung. "Is Hank here?" Jessica stammered when addressing Liberty. Liberty was preparing Eggs Benedict for her cousin. She cast a passing glance at Jessica before returning to her task, responding with detachment, "You can see for yourself, Ms. Yates." Not deterred, Jessica pressed on, her voice softer. "Hank and his mother left early in the morning. They said they were coming to congratulate you on the store opening. If they're not here, where could they be?" Liberty's response remained aloof, "Hank's your man. If you don't know his whereabouts, why would I?" Jessica struggled to retort, left glancing at the vigilant bodyguards and security personnel. With a sheepish smile, she tried to save face, "I came to look for Hank, not create trouble. Since he's not here, I'll be on my way." Swiftly, she spun around and hurried to her car, driving away. Inside, she felt gratitude that her brother refrained from causing a scene at Liberty's shop. Jessica was appreciative, yet a twinge of envy stirred. Having influential backers certainly altered the dynamic. She fled pretty quickly, Serenity remarked coldly. Elisa chimed in, a real coward. She'd shown much more guts when trying to snatch Liberty's husband. Both women exchanged a fleeting glance at Zachary. With him as a towering presence, causing trouble seemed unwise. Zachary's signal prompted the bodyguards to exit the scene, while Duncan's hired street patrollers exited without a word. Once they were gone, Serenity commented to Zachary, "I'm surprised that there's a security patrol on the street. Half the stores along the street are owned by Mr. Lewis. He's concerned for tenants like us and hired guards to ensure our safety," Zachary explained. As Elisa savored the Eggs Benedict, Liberty took a moment to elaborate on the presence of the security guards patrolling the street. Unbeknownst to Serenity, the guards were only patrolling the portion of the street where Liberty's store stood. The other half of the street was under distant surveillance. Nevertheless, the collective security presence was reassuring. Serenity's eyes gleamed, attributing the heightened security to Duncan's concern for her sister. However, Liberty's apparent lack of interest in the matter made Serenity's assumptions less certain. She wondered if Duncan's actions were truly for her sister's well-being or simply a measure to safeguard all his tenants. The store rented by Liberty was indeed owned by Duncan. Given his association with Zachary, his concern for Liberty was natural. Duncan never explicitly expressed interest in Liberty, Serenity could only watch from the sidelines, hands tied in the matter. Elisa sampled the eggs Benedict and found them rather satisfying. She cleaned her plate, signaling the end of the breakfast service. With that, Liberty intended to close the shop and extend an invitation to her loved ones for a meal at the Wiltspoon Hotel. With ample funds from Hank, she was generous in her offer, which the recipients readily accepted. Liberty, having been isolated from friends during her marriage, curated a guest list comprising the Stones, Soxes, Yorks, as well as Josh and Duncan. The Stones attended in full, while Jasmine and Drake represented the Sox family. Their parents couldn't make it but had Jasmine convey a bottle of wine as a gift. The Yorks, though they typically dined at their hotel, participated with the exception of Rowan, who was at school. Among the older generation, only Grandma May, Liam, and Tanya attended. Despite Grandma May's other sons being absent, they sent congratulatory gifts through Tanya. The gesture of respect toward Liberty, Serenity's sister, was evident. Serenity was deeply appreciative. Her sister playfully scolded her, urging her to live well and treat Zachary kindly. Knowing Zachary had Liberty's support, he'd occasionally report Serenity's actions to her sister during conflicts. The meal Liberty hosted was a joyful affair filled with laughter. Meanwhile, after leaving All You Can Eat, Jessica reached out to Hank, questioning his whereabouts. He claimed he was searching for work, though Jessica's belief was only partial. Hank's persuasion eventually placated her, putting her in a better mood. She decided to buy groceries and prepare dinner for her husband. Exiting the market, Jessica encountered two tall men wearing black masks and sunglasses. They emerged from a black sedan, stopping her in her tracks. "What do you want?" Jessica asked cautiously, retreating a few steps. "Are you Miss Jessica Yates?" "Who are you?" The familiarity with her name unsettled her. "Our employer wishes to meet you. Please accompany us, Ms. Yates. Rest assured, we mean no harm." Jessica's brow furrowed. "Who's your employer?" "I don't know her. My husband is coming back from work, and I need to cook dinner. I don't have time for this." Then, she tried to walk around them. "You and your husband both lost your jobs. What work are you talking about? Ms. Yates, are you willing to watch your husband get closer to his ex-wife each day until they remarry?" Jessica froze. Who the hell are you guys? How did they know so much about her personal life? "Our employer is highly displeased with the Hunt sisters' unrestrained behavior." Jessica's eyes widened, her curiosity piqued. Had the Hunt sisters incurred the wrath of a powerful individual? What did this person want with her? She lacked the capability to confront or counter the Hunt sisters effectively. "The purpose will be revealed once you accompany us, Ms. Yates." Jessica hesitated. "I don't even know who you are. How can I trust you? You're masked, and I can't see your faces. If you remove your mask and allow me to photograph you, I might consider following. At least that way, there will be evidence if anything happens to me." "Apologies, but we can't remove it. If you refuse, our employer will personally extend the invitation. However, the consequences may not be to your liking. Our employer possesses a fiery temper." "Enough talk, just knock her out," the other man impatiently interjected. Hearing this, Jessica spun around and attempted to flee. After covering only a short distance, she felt a sharp pain at the back of her neck and succumbed to unconsciousness, robbed of the chance to cry for help. The man who incapacitated Jessica deposited her into the black sedan and joined his accomplice inside. The vehicle sped away, lacking a license plate. After some distance, they halted, reattached the license plate they had removed, and continued their journey. Regaining consciousness, Jessica vigorously pounded the car door, demanding her release. The man in the passenger seat turned to caution her, "Behave, Ms. Yates. Irritating us will lead to an unpleasant fate." What do you want from me?" Her trembling hands clutched her phone, fortunately still in her possession. "Don't consider calling the police or seeking assistance. Your life can be terminated at any moment. Our objective is simple, our employer desires an audience with you. If you cooperate and accompany us, you will return to the Brown residence unharmed. If not, your entire family, both the Brown and Yates families, will meet dire consequences." Frightened by the threat, Jessica paled and dared not contact the police or Hank. With a tremulous voice, she conceded, "I will go with you." Observing her fear, the man expressed satisfaction. "You've chosen wisely." Jessica fell silent. The two men transported her to an abandoned, decrepit building on the outskirts. Weeds sprawled, trash was strewn about, and an amalgamation of odors hung in the air, eliciting a nauseous response from her. In her physical discomfort, Jessica couldn't hold back her revulsion and threw up. One of the men waited patiently until Jessica finished vomiting before offering her a mask. Hastily, she donned the mask, hoping to shield herself from the overpowering stench. Her hand instinctively covered her mouth and nose, and with caution, she followed the two masked figures into the incomplete building. Once away from the foul-smelling debris, Jessica finally lowered her hand. She surveyed her surroundings, realizing that there was no nearby habitation. Fear crept over her as she contemplated the grim possibility that her fate might remain unknown here, her body hidden away. She was puzzled by her captor's intent. If it was the Hunt sisters who had antagonized them, shouldn't they be pursuing the sisters instead? What interest could they have in her, a foe of the Hunts as well? "Don't be alarmed, Ms. Yates. I've summoned you here to discuss a partnership. Together, we can seek retribution against Mrs. York." The voice of an unfamiliar woman emanated from a nearby room, yet her form remained concealed from Jessica's sight. Jessica refrained from entering the room, the two men who escorted her still had their gaze on her. Though she felt a measure of relief upon hearing the woman's words, it seemed that the mysterious woman's ire was directed towards Serenity. "May I inquire about your identity and the nature of this proposition? I'm merely a housewife without employment. My family and my husband's family lack social prominence, so I fear my contributions may be limited." The woman chuckled. "Your humility is unnecessary, Ms. Yates. I researched thoroughly before seeking your involvement. You, too, harbor grievances against Mrs. York, correct? It so happens that I share a resentment with her as well. Given our mutual adversary, why not unite our efforts?" Jessica collected her thoughts and inquired, "How should I address you, and what, precisely, do you propose?" Serenity is now the York family's matriarch. Her spouse is not an easily vanquished individual. The sight of him weakens my resolve, rendering me incapable of communication. Enlisting me in any activity against Serenity is tantamount to signing my own death sentence. Fear not, I do not intend for you to directly confront Serenity. My focus lies with Sunny. Sunny? The name immediately conjured an image of Hank and Liberty's child in Jessica's mind. Anxiety swept over her. Are you suggesting that I harm Sunny? Since her divorce, Sunny had been gaining prominence within the Brown family. Olivia repeatedly emphasized his importance as the family's sole heir, though her intent was likely to mock Jessica's inability to conceive during her relationship with Hank. Jessica resented this, but she had helped Liberty by persuading Hank to relinquish custody of Sunny. The idea of harming the child was inconceivable. I did not propose harming him. Allow me to elucidate my plan. Don't your in-laws desire to regain custody of Sunny from Liberty? Your role will be to persuade your husband and mother-in-law to bring Sunny back to your family. Then, while both you and Hank accompany Sunny to a crowded venue, like a zoo or an amusement park, I shall arrange for someone to discreetly remove Sunny. To the outside world, it will appear that Sunny was inadvertently lost. Suspicion will not fall upon your involvement. Why resort to kidnapping Sunny? If your intention is to revenge on Serenity, target her directly. Why involve an innocent child? Should your associates mishandle this and endanger Sunny's life? Wouldn't that serve our purpose? Without Sunny, your future child will be the sole heir of the Brown family, inheriting all its assets. While your present wealth may be limited, upon your collaboration, I am prepared to arrange a high-level managerial position for your husband in a prominent company outside the city. He could command an annual salary exceeding $1 million. After a decade or two of diligent work, your family will amass a substantial fortune, to be inherited solely by your son. The necessity of sharing inheritance with Sunny will be eliminated. Isn't that a remarkable proposition? Jessica's complexion paled. Who is this woman, and how could she treat human life so frivolously? Was she affiliated with the criminal underworld? Sunny? He's just a child. Moreover, his custody was granted to Liberty. Hank only provides a monthly child support of $3,000, which will cease when Sunny reaches 18. He won't need to contribute if Sunny intends to purchase a house or car in the future. He lacks the means to vie for family assets. People's intentions can change. If you truly wish to ensure he won't contest your son for the family wealth, his death is the surest way. But I don't have a son. I don't even have a daughter. Can't you give birth to one? Jessica was taken aback. The proposition was both absurd and chilling. I can't believe you're suggesting such a thing. The woman on the other end laughed. You possess a sliver of moral decency within your wickedness. I outlined my plan, yet I never mentioned harming Sunny directly. My objective is to utilize Sunny as bait to lure Serenity. Considering their close bond, I trust she'll willingly meet me alone. The intention was for Serenity to meet this person in solitude. Jessica breathed a sigh of relief. While she had engaged in devious behavior before, she lacked the malevolent nature to harm a child. Can you promise that Sunny won't be harmed once he's taken? Absolutely, provided he remains composed and doesn't resist. Remember, he's merely a means to an end. My ultimate target is Serenity. Inwardly, Jessica speculated, could this woman be infatuated with Zachary? Perhaps her jealousy drove her to seek vengeance on Serenity after discovering their marriage. Does she aim to usurp Serenity's place? What do you think? Will you collaborate with me, Ms. Yates? Cautiously, Jessica inquired, do I have the option to decline? You do, but you must brace yourself for the consequences. Ms. Yates, do you understand a woman's deepest fear? Jessica's complexion turned even paler. If you cooperate, the brunt of the consequences will fall upon Serenity. Furthermore, I have individuals surveilling every member of the Yates family. If you renege on our agreement, your family might encounter misfortune. This isn't mere intimidation, I am true to my word. Jessica hesitated. Could I have some time to consider? No. Do you consent or not? Jessica observed several imposing men wearing black masks and sunglasses emerging from other rooms. Trembling, she responded in a wavering voice, I'll do it. I knew you were intelligent, Ms. Yates. The Hunt sisters are your adversaries as well. Jessica dared not utter a word. Achoo? Serenity sneezed. Beside her, the man inquired with concern, are you catching a cold? No, I'm fine. It's just an itchy nose. Don't worry about it. Zachary extended his arms, enfolding her within his embrace, allowing her to rest against his chest. Tenderly, he murmured, don't return to the store after lunch. Take the day to rest. Following the celebratory meal hosted by Liberty, those with work obligations departed, leaving Liberty to return to her diner with her son in Duncan's car for a rest. Given that she operated a breakfast establishment, closing during the afternoon was feasible. Serenity leaned into Zachary's embrace, the sensation of his strong frame offering her solace. With a yawn, she closed her eyes, murmuring, I still have to return to the bookstore in the afternoon to discuss investments. Tomorrow evening, there's another formal event. Seeking Aunt Audrey's assistance has only escalated my commitments. I've grown increasingly occupied since becoming the York family's matriarch. Nevertheless, enduring this temporary busy period for the promise of lifelong tranquility was a trade-off Serenity willingly accepted. You've been through a lot, Seren, Zachary whispered, his lips pressing gently against her forehead, pained by the hardships she bore due to him. I chose this path willingly. What I learn now will serve me well in the future, Serenity mumbled, stifling another yawn. The early morning start left her feeling drowsy. It's true your time is more precious. Sacrificing half of your day for your sister's sake means you're giving up more. But love is never about counting the costs. Zachary's deep devotion was evident in his actions, and Serenity recognized it well. With a tender gaze, she caressed his handsome face. Her eyes shimmered with emotion. Darling, how did I ever manage to marry you? Don't worry, now that you've entrusted me with your heart, I promise to stand by you. I'll cherish and care for you all our days together. Even my sister keeps insisting that I treat you better. It's as if she's worried I might mistreat you. Sometimes, it feels like she spoils you more than me. Clasping her hand, which still rested against his face, Zachary adopted a serious tone. Lucky for us, my dashcam has captured every word. So, if you ever renege on your promise and treat me unfairly, I'll be forced to play the recording for Liberty. She can be my advocate and ensure justice is served. Serenity was left momentarily speechless. Imagining the scenario of Zachary running to her sister to report her behavior left her flustered. Quickly assuring him, she stammered, you won't need to worry about that. Zachary, you won't actually do that, will you? I'm not a fan of tattling, but in case I face any injustice, it's essential someone steps in to make things right. And I think Liberty would excel in that role. Serenity was left astounded by Zachary's unexpected response. Zachary, is this truly you? She mused, finding it hard to picture a scenario in which she would have a minor argument with her husband and then he'd run to her sister to complain. "Babe, would you ever let me endure an injustice?" she asked. "No, absolutely not. Anyone else is fair game, but never my husband. Mr. York, I adore you immensely. My love for you is as unending as the Nile River." Both the driver and Jim, seated in the passenger seat, couldn't help but chuckle. Serenity was reminded that they were riding in Zachary's Rolls-Royce, accompanied by the driver and Super Jim. Super Jim was the affectionate moniker she'd given him due to his myriad talents. "Zachary, I'm sleepy. I think I'll take a nap," Serenity announced before comfortably nestling herself into her husband's arms, feigning slumber. Feeling little embarrassment about the situation, she considered someone else to be in the awkward position. Zachary held her close, his eyes twinkling with affection. "Rest well. Once we reach home, I'll carry you inside and wake you up to return to the store at 3 in the afternoon." With a contented hum, Serenity allowed herself to drift into slumber. Her fatigue caught up to her quickly. Zachary, too, felt the pull of sleep tugging at him. Although Serenity had risen early, their shared bed had beckoned him to wake as well. Now, he couldn't resist the drowsiness. With Serenity secure in his arms, he reclined against the car seat, surrendering himself to the embrace of sleep. In the soothing presence of the Sandman, both of them succumbed to a peaceful nap. Serenity reached the bookstore around 2:50 p.m., accompanied by Zachary, who personally dropped her off. "I have a social event tonight," Zachary informed her with a touch of seriousness as she stepped out of the car. Glancing at him, Serenity immediately inquired, "What time will you be leaving the office? Don't drink too much, and remember not to consume alcohol on an empty stomach, it might upset your stomach." "I've been on medication for 3 days now. My stomach should be fine," Zachary reassured her. Serenity insisted, "Even if your stomach feels fine, you must still take care of it. I'll arrange for some food to be sent to you before you leave work. Eat a little something before going out, but try to avoid excessive drinking. In fact, it'd be best if you didn't drink at all." "All right, I'll heed your advice. I'll wait for the food before leaving the office," Zachary replied, his intense gaze locked onto Serenity. Serenity comprehended his silent desire and swiftly leaned in to kiss his cheek before playfully pinching it. Dodging his attempt to retaliate, she hopped out of the car with a cheeky grin, leaving him momentarily speechless. While he wanted to say something more, she was already on her way inside. Nevertheless, she had promised to allow him 2 more days of indulgence before he would need to adhere to whatever plan she devised. Her smile in place, Serenity entered the bookstore. Inside, both Elisa and Jasmine were occupied. One was engrossed in a novel, while the other played with a half-finished craft project Elisa had been working on. Both of them looked up and smiled when Serenity walked in. Elisa was the first to speak, her words filled with genuine appreciation. "Jasmine, have you noticed how Saren is becoming more and more beautiful? Her smile is as radiant as the morning sun." Closing the unfinished novel, Jasmine answered, "With love as her foundation, it's only natural she grows more beautiful." Serenity laughed and teasingly retorted, "That's like the pot calling the kettle black." After their initial hurdles, Josh and Jasmine had grown closer, eventually becoming a couple. Their relationship was characterized by ease and sweetness, spared from the complexities Serenity and Zachary had faced. With a gentle temperament and elevated emotional intelligence, Josh and Jasmine enjoyed a harmonious bond. Josh's romantic nature was evident, and Jasmine succumbed willingly to his affections. Their synchronized gazes shifted to Elisa, the only one among them who remained unattached. "Don't look at me. I'm not in the mood for dating right now. I aspire to be as strong as my mom was in her youth," Elisa declared confidently, a grin on her lips. "I know I'm beautiful even without love's nourishment." Serenity chimed in, "That's undeniably true. Elisa, you're naturally beautiful. It's your honesty and authenticity that truly stand out." Serenity moved toward the cashier's desk, and Elisa vacated her seat to greet her. "Is your online store still active?" "Absolutely. I'm someone who never refuses a chance to earn money. As long as the business is profitable and I can manage the workload, I intend to keep it running." Seated at the desk, Serenity started her craftwork and added, "Elisa, have you finalized the plan? Please share it with us. We're still new to this, so we rely on your guidance." "Seren, you could consider hiring help for your craftwork. This way, you can maintain your online store while freeing up time for other activities. Your earnings might decrease, but you'll still generate income," Elisa suggested. Serenity explained, "I've recently reached out to some of my classmates from our major. Many of them are housewives now, without a stable income. They previously attempted online businesses that ultimately failed. They've promised to get back to me with an answer tomorrow." Given her other commitments, she couldn't fully focus on the online store as she used to. Her classmates, who were also skilled in crafts, had the ability but were less fortunate in terms of recommendations. Unlike Serenity, who had Zachary, his brothers, and Elisa advocating for her creations, their ventures hadn't taken off as desired. This approach seemed to have positively impacted her online store, resulting in an increase in business. "I've completed the plan and discussed it with Jasmine," Elisa announced, producing the plan she had dedicated the previous night to crafting. Handing it to Serenity, she encouraged, "Take a look." Recognizing the value of collaboration among them, Elisa continued, "Although we're newcomers in this field, with our combined efforts, we can achieve great things. Unity brings strength." Elisa's reminder led her to halt her crafting temporarily. Serenity recalled the incident when she had hurt her hand and Elisa had accompanied her to the hospital. Serenity's aversion to blood had been evident when she had nearly fainted upon seeing her own blood. However, Serenity brushed off the past, insisting, that incident was just a random occurrence. While she refrained from admitting that her injury had been caused by Zachary, she paused her craftwork to attentively review the plan Elisa had prepared. Engaging in discussions with her friends, she sought their opinions and insights. "I haven't shared this plan with Clive yet. I thought it would be valuable to test it ourselves first. We can't rely solely on others," Elisa disclosed. "I believe the proposal is quite comprehensive," Jasmine commended, endorsing Elisa's efforts. Serenity added, "Experience is something we acquire step by step. I also consulted my husband, and he encouraged me to pursue this endeavor confidently, knowing he'd be there to support me." Elisa playfully interjected, "I'm putting my faith in both of you to succeed. After all, you have quite influential supporters." Serenity and Jasmine simultaneously contradicted her, resulting in laughter shared among the trio. Jasmine mused, "Within Wiltspoon, there are numerous schools. Any establishment with canteens or cafeterias holds potential business opportunities. Our success depends on our ability to seize them." Having navigated their way through challenges while opening the bookstore, Serenity dreamily envisaged, "I hope that one day, we'll become the pioneers of produce." Given the vacant fields in Wiltspoon, they envision leasing a considerable amount of land after a successful trial period. Their objective was to ensure the land wasn't wasted and that local farmers earned a steady income. Amid their conversation, Jasmine's phone rang. She answered upon recognizing Josh's call. "Get ready, babe. I'll swing by after work, and we'll have dinner together." Josh's voice, gentle and alluring, resonated through the phone. Witnessing the mischievous exchange of glances between her friends, Jasmine lightly pinched Serenity and responded to Josh with a playful tone. "Sure thing. Come over whenever you're ready. My schedule is flexible." As Serenity's banquet was scheduled for the following night, she could mind the store for the evening. Given that Zachary had his own social event, staying at the store seemed more appealing than returning to an empty house. "I miss you so much. I wish I could speed up the clock and finish work sooner," Josh expressed with a hint of yearning in his voice, his words a charming symphony. A distinct smooching sound echoed through the phone, eliciting a playful giggle from Jasmine. "I'll be waiting for you at the store. Wrap up your tasks swiftly. Love ya?" Josh's enthusiasm was palpable. "I'll do my best to finish quickly." Concluding the call, Jasmine imparted a cheeky insight to her friends: men deserve some cajoling too. Serenity and Elisa exchanged knowing glances, silently acknowledging that they had gained a new understanding today. As Serenity observed Josh's positive response to Jasmine's coaxing, she realized that she rarely used such tactics with Zachary. Watching how easily Jasmine could elicit happiness from her partner, Serenity decided, "I should buy Zachary a gift when I bring him dinner later. I'm sure it will brighten his mood." Curious about their dinner plans, Serenity inquired, "Jasmine, what's on the menu for tonight?" Jasmine disclosed, "Liberty treated us to lunch earlier, so I didn't buy groceries. What do you feel like eating? I can go buy it now." "Actually, I'm planning to deliver dinner to my husband. Despite his stomach discomfort, he has a dinner event to attend. I'm worried about him drinking on an empty stomach. You two continue chatting, I'll fetch some food and be right back." Elisa and Jasmine nodded in agreement as Serenity left the store. Once Serenity was gone, Elisa expressed her admiration, tinged with a hint of envy. "I truly envy Saren. It's not easy for her and Zachary to lead a normal couple's life. Zachary might seem aloof, but Saren has a way of breaking down his barriers." Reflecting on Zachary's prior visits to the store, Elisa continued, "When Mr. York came by before, he exuded an air of distance. Students seemed cautious whenever he manned the register." Elisa chuckled, "That's normal. He still maintains that demeanor. He merely showcases a different side in front of Saren. In my case, I need to find a man who's willing to make exceptions for me. I'll hold his heart tightly to ensure he doesn't slip away." Responding supportively, Jasmine remarked, "You're amazing, Elisa. I'm certain you'll find someone who cherishes you. Perhaps he's already close by, and you just haven't realized it yet. Remember to open the door when love comes knocking." Confidently, Elisa affirmed, "I also believe my fate won't be any less fortunate than Saren's. I can also find a man who genuinely loves me." Though she relinquished her feelings for Zachary, it didn't mean she resigned herself to unhappiness. Instead, she embraced the prospect of a new chapter in her life, one defined by her own happiness. Returning from her grocery run, Serenity began preparing a meal in the kitchen. She intended to craft a lovingly prepared dinner for Zachary, ensuring he was well fed before his evening engagement. Meanwhile, she hoped to watch the store so that Jasmine could enjoy her date with Josh without any worries. When her relationship with Zachary had been in its early stages, Jasmine had often held the fort at the store on her own. However, now that she and Zachary were firmly committed, it was time to support Jasmine's budding romance with Josh. As Elisa leaned against the kitchen, she playfully quipped, "They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. It seems Zachary's selective appetite has been won over by your culinary skills." Serenity smiled warmly, glancing at Elisa, and replied, "Then you should take a leaf out of my book and prepare to win over a certain man's heart through his stomach in the future." Elisa laughed heartily, teasing, "I'll pass on that. I'm counting on him to capture my heart through his cooking instead." "Ah, classic Elisa," Serenity remarked fondly. Curious about Serenity and Zachary's dynamics, Elisa inquired, "Seren, when you two spend time together, do you take care of him in the same way? Are you the one who handles groceries and cooking?" Serenity responded, "No, it's usually Zachary who cooks at home. Nana mentioned that his culinary skills need improvement, so she advised me to give him opportunities to practice. It's a win-win, I get well fed as he hones his abilities." Elisa burst into laughter, observing, "Old Mrs. York is quite shrewd. She's truly Zachary's grandmother. She's unconventional yet highly respectable. Much different from my own grandmother. When she was alive, she incessantly harassed my mother and found fault with her, creating all sorts of challenges." Serenity praised the York family, stating, "Everyone in the York family is exceptional." Elisa wholeheartedly agreed with Serenity's sentiment. "It's reassuring to hear that Zachary takes care of you at home," Elisa remarked. "I worried you might end up like Liberty, taking on all the household chores and losing yourself in the process." Serenity momentarily halted her actions before responding, "I learned from my sister's experience. I won't let myself fall into that kind of life." Elisa nodded in agreement, stating, "It's important to maintain self-awareness in a relationship. I've seen many people lose their identity when they're in love." Elisa's phone rang as she finished speaking, and it was from her friend who had been with her before she met Serenity. Answering the call, she informed Serenity, "Seren, my best friend just went through a breakup. I'm going to meet her." "Of course, drive safely. I'll arrange for someone to visit your hometown tomorrow and discuss contracting the fields with the village chief. I'll also look into what your relatives are up to these days." "Thank you." Jasmine and Serenity allowed Elisa to lead the investment project due to her background, which was more privileged than theirs. Her upbringing provided her with valuable insights. "I'll arrange a coffee meetup for you all to get to know my best friend when she's in a better mood. She's feeling down after the breakup, so she could use cheerful friends like you and Jasmine." Elisa's best friend hailed from an affluent family as well, although she maintained a low profile. Elisa believed that her friend would get along well with Serenity and the others. "Absolutely, a breakup isn't the end of the world. There are plenty of good men out there." She was in a long-term relationship and had even discussed marriage. "It's natural for her to feel sad. I'll go now, Seren. I need to be there for Cece." Concerned about her friend, Elisa promptly left the bookstore. After preparing a thoughtful dinner for Zachary, Serenity packed it in an insulated lunchbox. She told Jasmine, "I'll take the food to him and return to watch the store. It's not closing time yet, so your boyfriend shouldn't be here." "No worries. I'll handle things here. Go ahead." Jasmine readily agreed to help. A few minutes later, Serenity drove away from Wiltspoon School. Running short on time for buying additional gifts, she decided to purchase a bouquet of flowers for Zachary. She remembered Cameron's flower shop, Spring Blossoms. A minor detour would take her there. Following her plan, she reached downtown within 10 minutes and slowed down to locate Spring Blossoms. The shop's prominent street-side location made it easy to find. Carefully parking in front of the store, Serenity was met with a honk from behind. Ignoring it, she opened her car door to step out. The driver who had honked also emerged from their vehicle and shouted at her, "Didn't you hear me honk? I need that parking spot. Move your car. Oh, it's you." The persistent honker turned out to be Carrie, Cameron's half-sister, with whom Serenity had a previous conflict. "Please move your car. I want to park there," Carrie maintained her arrogance, viewing Serenity as a naive country girl. In Carrie's perspective, Serenity would forever remain a country bumpkin, unable to integrate into the upper echelons of society. She believed that Serenity's novelty would eventually wear off, leaving her to deal with the aftermath once Mr. York lost interest in her. "Is this parking spot exclusively yours? Is your car the only one allowed to park here?" Serenity was just as resolute and unyielding when it came to Carrie. Her impression of Carrie was far from favorable. Carrie, taken aback by Serenity's resistance, retorted, "This is in front of Cameron's store. As her sister, I have the right to park here." "Ah, so you're fully aware that Cameron is your sister? What exactly did you do to her during the Dowling family's banquet?" Serenity's voice held a pointed edge. Carrie, who had a history of treating Cameron poorly, defended her actions, saying disdainfully, "Cameron is just a joke to me." Serenity was appalled. How could someone treat their sister like this? In truth, it seemed that Mr. and Mrs. Newman had failed to instill proper values in their daughter. Cameron's blindness was a result of a severe illness she contracted at the age of 16. Her parents' negligence nearly cost her life until a relative intervened and rushed her to the hospital. She received emergency care for over 10 hours, saving her life but resulting in her permanent blindness. Serenity and Zachary speculated on Cameron's blindness, unsure if she was genuinely blind or pretending. Regardless, Serenity empathized with her future sister-in-law. As the eldest member of the York family, Serenity felt a responsibility to protect her younger sisters-in-law. Carrie's threat grew more severe, "I'm warning you, if you don't move your car, don't blame me if your junker gets wrecked." Carrie's scornful gaze fell on Serenity's affordable national MPV. How could someone from the York family not even drive a prestigious car? In Carrie's opinion, the likes of Zachary deserved more sophisticated companions, not a country bumpkin like Serenity. Mrs. Newman, resentful due to the Dowling family incident where Serenity outshone her daughter, had painted Serenity as an outsider to Carrie. She exaggerated the idea that the York family did not fully accept Serenity, leading her to accompany Mrs. Stone to the event. Mrs. Newman selectively omitted Tanya's defense of Serenity during the event, further fueling Carrie's prejudice. Carrie continued her verbal assault, "How dare you contest me for a parking spot with that pitiful car? I'm telling you, if you so much as scratch my car, you won't be able to afford the repair even if you sell yourself. Do you know the value of my car? It's worth several million." The Newman family's immense wealth placed them among Witherspoon's top tier, holding assets exceeding $1 billion. Carrie, their firstborn, was showered with indulgence. Her 18th birthday gift from her father was a luxury car valued in the millions. "I arrived first, so I parked here. Why should I yield to you? And if you damage my car, I'll ensure you compensate me for a replacement. I've been thinking of getting a new car anyway." Carrie's loud response met Serenity's determined stance, with both women engaged in a tense standoff. Carrie Newman. The name rang out, slicing through the heated exchange at the entrance of the store. Cameron, positioned within the store, caught wind of the argument and approached, guided by her white cane. Serenity's gaze shifted toward Cameron's direction. There she was, just as Serenity had encountered her that fateful night. Cameron's eyes remained hidden behind large black sunglasses, her captivating face as composed as ever. Why the commotion? Cameron's familiarity with her surroundings enabled her to pinpoint the source of the argument. Approaching Serenity, she inquired kindly, "Are you Mrs. York?" "What Mrs. York?" "Just a country bumpkin," Carrie's words dripped with disdain. She couldn't stand others addressing Serenity as Mrs. York. Though she wouldn't dare confront Zachary due to his cold demeanor, her ambitions drove her to desire a place in the York family. Among the 9 young masters of the York family, her mother had selected the 7th son, older by a couple of years, to potentially be her future husband. Her mother's rationale was that a slightly older man would be more inclined to pamper her whims. With her temperamental disposition, she required someone more easygoing. In Carrie's mind, Serenity was an unwelcome addition. "I won't accept a hick like Serenity as my sister-in-law," she determined. Cameron's voice sliced through the tension. Silence. Without awaiting Carrie's reaction, she turned her attention back to Serenity, expressing her apology. "Mrs. York, please forgive her. My mother indulged her excessively, and she lacks the understanding of propriety." Carrie wouldn't stand for the reprimand. "You dare to speak to me that way? Don't think for a second that you're my elder just because Daddy shielded you this time. Remember, they're my parents, and you have no right to lecture me. Don't assume you'd still be tolerated at home if I didn't need a punching bag. My mother would have thrown you out long ago." Cameron lived at home, yet her existence was confined to the nanny's room on the first floor. Her stepfather justified this arrangement, citing her visual impairment as a reason. The nanny's room, divided into 2, was shared with the housekeeper. Serenity observed Cameron's white-knuckled grip on her cane. There was an unspoken story behind her resilience, something she was reluctant to leave behind despite the difficulties she endured. Carrie's fury escalated, her hand poised to strike Cameron. But before the blow landed, Serenity intervened, seizing Carrie's wrist. Serenity released her grip with a swift motion and uttered in a cold tone, "Would you believe me if I said I could tear your arm off?" "Try me," Carrie challenged. Serenity's smirk remained unwavering. "Absolutely. Miss Carrie, my husband has assured me that as long as I don't let anyone walk all over me, he'll stand by my side and ensure justice prevails." Serenity relished her husband's imposing presence, savoring the extra edge she gained from his power. In this confrontation, she felt invincible, free to counter arrogance with arrogance. Her confidence soared, allowing her to face adversity without reservation. Carrie's brashness was not indicative of her ignorance. Her mind revisited the plan that had gone awry at the Dowlings event, the very plan that Serenity had thwarted. That night, she had been manipulated by Serenity's intervention, compelled to consume drugged alcohol by Elisa. The drug clouded her judgment and led her to a compromising situation at the Dowlings residence. Urgently, her mother had whisked her home, immersing her in ice-cold water to counter the effects. But the chill ignited her fever, leaving her parents anguished yet unyielding in seeking justice. This reluctance was due to the country bumpkin, who, with Mr. York's support, stood as a formidable force. Her father clarified that while the Newmans' business was not based in Wiltspoon, it was unwise to cross paths with Mr. York. The sprawling York Corporation, with its citywide interests, had the power to jeopardize the Newmans' enterprise. Thus, her actions could potentially backfire on Newman Enterprise. Moreover, her father admonished her for her reckless act, drugging Cameron. There were less damaging methods to embarrass Cameron, methods that did not entail disgracing her publicly at the banquet. This audacity had marred their reputation, making it difficult for Carrie to secure a suitable husband. The wealthy wives of other families now considered her a pariah. It was during these events that Carrie grasped the extent of Zachary's influence. Not even her parents' love could shield her from his reach. In contrast, Serenity shot Carrie a disdainful glance, adopting an even more audacious demeanor. Remarkably, this provoked a flicker of apprehension in Carrie, a departure from her usual audacity. "Just you wait, you country bumpkin," she hissed her threat, her finger pointing menacingly before she turned on her heel and exited. In her wake, several pots of flowers were deliberately toppled. Witnessing this, Serenity felt an urge to take more drastic action against Carrie. People had often branded Elisa as uncivilized and irascible, yet in comparison, Elisa radiated grace. Though self-assured, Elisa knew how to gracefully distance herself from those who didn't resonate with her. She firmly put overzealous individuals in their place. Carrie epitomized an uncouth stubbornness and arrogance. Departing in her lavish multi-million-dollar vehicle, she contemplated discussing her vengeful intentions with her mother. Carrie saw no qualms in employing a few henchmen to teach Serenity a lesson, driven purely by spite. However, Noah would immediately intervene, aware of the repercussions of such a plot. He had previously attempted a similar scheme, only to be soundly defeated by Serenity. "I'm sorry, Mrs. York," Cameron lamented. Serenity's response was gentle and reassuring. "There's no need to apologize to me. You're my guest," yet Carrie managed to taint your experience. "I should have arrived earlier to spare you from her insults," Serenity empathized. Acknowledging the social chasm between herself and her husband, Serenity recognized that Carrie's sentiment wasn't isolated. Many others privately shared this perception of her, though they exercised more decorum in their expressions. Cameron intervened with a reminder: all humans are equal. What matters is Mr. York's opinion of you. The opinions of others are of little consequence. She gestured for Serenity to enter and added warmly, "You must be here to buy flowers. Who's the lucky recipient of your bouquet?" Walking alongside Cameron into the flower shop, Serenity responded with a smile, "I'm purchasing flowers for my husband." "What would you recommend, Ms. Newman? Could you assemble something for me?" With a smile, Cameron responded, "I'll put together something special for you since you have confidence in my choices." Setting her cane aside, Cameron deftly began crafting a bespoke floral arrangement for Serenity. Observing Cameron's skilled hands at work, Serenity inquired, "Ms. Newman, have you memorized the placement of each type of flower here?" Amidst the process of pairing blossoms, Cameron replied, "I've had to, given my lack of sight. I've hired employees to organize the flowers every time we receive a new stock shipment. They help me identify the location of each variety. My flower shop has been operating for quite a few years now, which has given me ample time to commit everything to memory. I believe I've got it all down." Meeting Cameron's gaze, Serenity asked more solemnly, "Is there any possibility of regaining your sight, Ms. Newman?" Cameron's smile dimmed, and she replied, "I lost my vision due to an illness. Survival was a stroke of luck in itself. I've learned to adapt to my blindness, and I cherish every moment I have. My gratitude lies in the fact that I'm alive." Her unexpected loss of sight had brought her to the brink of despair and instability. Yet, she persevered, unwilling to surrender to life's hardships. She discovered a new purpose, transitioning from the realm of light to one of darkness. Viewing the world through her heart's perception, she was capable of glimpsing into people's souls. Sometimes, the human heart was more mystifying than the supernatural. Serenity expressed her sympathy, saying, "Medical advancements and treatments are continually progressing. Perhaps eye surgery could hold the promise of restoring your sight." With a touch of optimism, Cameron responded, "My aunt has never ceased her efforts to seek treatment for me. She's taken me to see numerous ophthalmologists over the years, and she continues to do so." Fortunate to have a devoted aunt, Cameron shared a close bond with her. Among her aunts, only the youngest, empathetic to her situation, had cultivated a genuine connection with her father. Serenity found herself momentarily at a loss for words. "Please don't feel sorry for me," Cameron assured her. "I've been living in darkness for over a decade now. It's become a part of my life. I can navigate familiar surroundings without needing a cane." Cameron's kindness extended as she assisted Serenity with the floral arrangement and artfully bundled the flowers. Taking hold of the bouquet, Cameron turned to Serenity with a gentle smile. "The bouquet is prepared, Mrs. York. Mr. York will surely appreciate your thoughtful gift." The young couple seemed to be thriving contrary to the rumors. Grateful for Serenity's loyalty and kindness, Cameron silently prayed for her happiness alongside Mr. York. Given her own limited understanding, influenced by her harsh mother, Cameron believed that Serenity lacked the York family's approval, leading her to attend social gatherings with Mrs. Stone. Expressing her gratitude, Serenity accepted the bouquet and asked, "How much do I owe you for this?" Cameron's kindness was unforgettable, including her rejection of payment from Carrie at the Dowlings. With an appreciative smile, Cameron declined, "It's on the house. I could never repay you enough for the help you offered last time. This bouquet is a small gesture in comparison." "Business is business," Serenity countered. "You supplied the flowers, so I should compensate you for them. Even if you choose not to profit, you should at least cover your costs." Serenity produced $200, recalling that Cameron had collected a similar amount from Carrie at the Dowlings. Thanks for watching. Part 3 of Chapter 1051 to 1100 will be uploaded soon. Please subscribe to my YouTube channels, The Voice channel, and watch my original creations, as well as my new channel La Novela de Voice showcasing the forbidden love story. Please don't forget to hit all from the notification bell, so you will get notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Thank you.